Welcome to the most passionate content for card collectors on YouTube and possibly the whole entire internet. As usual, I am your host, Jake Roy, 90s Bball cards here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and at some point I keep promising myself I'll get onto TikTok. I did spend a couple of minutes on there a few days ago, but no posts yet, so stay tuned for those coming at some point in the future. So today we've got a fun box opening. So I teased out that we were going to have our PSA order revealed this week in the video last week, but unfortunately the mail did not cooperate, so it did not get here in time. So that will be coming next week. That's a very exciting order. I am eagerly anticipating it. But in lieu of that, I gave you an opportunity to weigh in on what we should do instead of that PSA order. So today we are doing your requests. So we are going to be opening a box of basketball rookies. We'll get into this in just a moment. Let's jump right into that. Alright, so today, like I said, I put a post out on Instagram and also on YouTube. So we're looking at this classic 90s retail package, which we will open eventually, and I'll explain to you why this is really important for me, and a lot of fun stuff in here to talk about. But this did not win. We have a winner here in the Scoreboard Basketball Rookies 96-97 incredible draft class, so that's what we're going to rip into today. Before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about what we can get in there. So I have not opened any of that in the past, but I have tons of those cards. I feel as though if you were collecting in the 90s, you have tons of Scoreboard collegiate and high school rookie cards of players. So that's what's in here. The 96-97 draft class is one of the best, if not the best draft class of the last few decades. Outside of Jordan's draft class, I don't think it gets too much better than 96-97 draft class. But I'm not exactly sure what's in this box, to be completely honest with you. It looks like they're advertising that there's some sort of a jumbo card or a box topper. So I think the best player you can get there is Iverson. Hopefully that's who we get, but there are some other guys who, if you remember that class, Antoine Walker, Stephon Marbury, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, that you can also get in that box topper. So Iverson is really the guy. I don't know if there's a Kobe Bryant box topper. He was a lottery pick, but he was not one of the top 5 or 10 guys. He wasn't as hyped as, we all know he should have been in hindsight. So I'm also thinking that this might be a box set when we bust into it. I don't know if there will be packs. There may be packs. That would be really exciting. I'm not sure what there could be for inserts, but it might just be a box set, and in which case we would be looking at the Iversons and the Kobes are really the highlight here. So I did do a little bit of research. So the Iverson and the Kobes, there are 3 Iversons altogether, I believe. There's a base, there's a checklist, and then there's a subset, which the subset is pretty cool looking, if that's what I'm thinking is in here. And then there's one Kobe, and he's in a all-star jersey from his high school days. So one of those that I know as a kid, I passed over many times because I couldn't clearly tell it was Kobe Bryant, and I would not be necessarily reading the names as quickly as I should be. So those are really the highlights. The Kobe Bryant, if we get one and it's in good shape, that's the key, and we send it off. So I was looking earlier, a PSA 10, which very hard to get, I'm sure. Those are selling for about $400 or $500 the last I looked. And then if you get a PSA 9, I think you're looking at like $100 to $200, and then a PSA 8 you're looking at like $50 to $100. The Iverson in a PSA 10 you're looking at about $100 to $200. So we'll see what we get, and hopefully what we get is in good condition, and maybe that will be our next PSA reveal at some point. So without any further ado, let's get right into that box. All right, here we've got the box. So interesting thing here, KB Toys was selling this originally marked $5.99, $6, marked down to $4.99. A bargain for sure. by today's standards. So here you get some of the promotional materials. It looks like they said that there's Shaquille O'Neal cards in here as well, so might see some veterans. Again, not really sure exactly, but you see blow-up cards are promoted there, blow-up cards are on the sticker, blow-up cards are promoted again on the side, blow-up cards are promoted. And then one of the things that I think is really fun, they showed some of those blow-up cards you could potentially get as well. So the Iverson, Antoine Walker, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Stephon Marbury. All right, enough with the history. Let's bust in. All right, there's the box. Hoping it's not like last week's box opening. If you haven't seen that, go take a look. I can't get too much worse than that, so I'm sure this will be better. All right. So, you know, I always love to package these like we used to see in the hobby shops, but that's not the best looking thing there. Okay, so we got the Antoine Walker is the jumbo card. Not necessarily your typical blowout card. It's a little bit longer or taller than you know, the typical ratio would be. So Antoine Walker, love those Kentucky jerseys and those shorts. They didn't have those for very long. I would love to get a pair of those shorts. Those are very 90s. All right, so it looks like we do have a box set here. So let's pull them out, open them up, and look through for those key players, Iverson and Kobe mainly, and see if there's any veterans as well. I think, if I'm looking at this, number 79 is on the back there. Number 81 is on the back. So I don't know how they collated these, but obviously I don't want to damage any corners, but pretty tightly packed. All right, let's go from the other side, maybe. Try some scissors very carefully. It's no great way to get into this. This plastic's so old, it's just brittle. The adhesive, they use some good adhesive. Really trying to be careful with these. All right, we'll keep those scissors handy because apparently that's the only way we're getting into these. All right, let's sift through these kind of quickly. So you'll see the player's last name is up at the top, so it should be pretty easy. Unlike when I was a kid, to pick out the guys we want here. There's not Shaquille O'Neal, Jermaine O'Neal. Malik Rose. And these aren't collated at all, so I'm wondering if they're just random, in which case we might not have the whole set. I don't know. There we go. All right, before we get too excited. Okay, Steve Nash, very nice. Somebody on the back. Todd Fuller. I always joke Todd Fuller is the player that was drafted right before Kobe Bryant to the Golden State Warriors, and I say he's the guy that makes Golden State Warriors fans cry because could have had Kobe. Tony Delk, great player for Kentucky. Priest Lauderdale, not from Fort Lauderdale. There's a checklist with Marcus Camby, number 2 overall pick. Tali. I feel like we had that guy before. There's the checklist with Iverson. Love that picture. Great picture on that one. All right. So hopefully the Kobe's in here. And hopefully we learned our lesson. We can get this out cleanly. I do see Allen Iverson on the back there, so that should be the subset card that I was talking about. Pretty cool looking. All right, at long last, we broken, again, trying to be careful, don't want to damage anything if I might send it for grading. Smoky Walker there. Lorenzen Wright, tragic story, loved him with Memphis State. All right, there's one of the veteran cards, Big Dog, Glenn Robinson. I guess I'll put that aside. They are kind of neat looking. Oh, here we go with some more veterans. Alonzo Mourning. Scottie Pippen. There you go. Kerry Kittles with Villanova. He was a big player in that draft class. Brent Berry, veteran. Hakeem, the Dream. John Wallace. Go with Rashid. Damon Stoudemire. Plenty of copies of that as a kid. Oh, there's the Kobe. Yes, sir. That looks pretty clean. We'll put that aside and get that cased up in a little bit. J. Kidd. Go with the Joe Smith. There's the Shaq that they highlighted. There's the subset cards again. There's Tony Delk. That's a pretty cool looking one. Yeah, put that there. There's the Camby base. John Wallace subset. Eric Dampier subset. There, buddy. All right, there's the mini of our Antoine Walker. I'll put that with that. There's a Ray Allen subset. Marcus Camby subset. Dante Jones. There's our Marbury. Lorenzen Wright subset. Sharif. The Sharif subset card. Backloaded with all the stars. There's the Iverson. Look at those sweet Concords. Love that one. Kerry Kittle subset. There's the Ray Allen base. Stephon Marbury subset. Oh, Chucky Atkins randomly. Right before the Iverson. All right. Looks like we got everything. That was about what we expected. Pretty pleased. So looking over those cards, I mean, I generally, if I'm going to send a card in, I'm expecting no higher than a 9. I'd rather be surprised by a 10, pleasantly surprised, rather than expecting a 10 and then be bummed by a 9. They're 90s cards, and you saw how hard these were to bust into. I was being pretty careful and cautious. As a kid, I probably would have been a little bit more reckless, and you know, it might have been a little bit easier back then. But, you know, try to be careful in case these came out in good shape. So I'll probably send a couple of them in, but I'll take a good hard look over them and see. You know, that Kobe's probably going to get sent to PSA anyway, so something to look forward to. But these PSA orders sometimes take quite a bit of time to come in. But you may have seen when I posted on Instagram that this was what we were going to open. I did tag Ken Golden in that and said, you know, we're going to kind of celebrate Golden Auctions. So a little bit of the reason, if you don't know, so Ken Golden actually started the Classic and Scoreboard card companies, the card brands, and so Ken is now the owner and operator of Golden Auctions. Golden Auctions has been on an absolute tear recently, you know, setting some crazy records, and he's been on some, you know, Instagram lives sharing some things that they're getting, all kinds of fun. And in one of those Instagram lives, I asked him what was his favorite set that they produced from the Classic and Scoreboard days, and he said 96-97 Scoreboard Autograph. This is not the autographed edition, this is just the Scoreboard edition, but I figured this would be fun because it was at least the same series, generally speaking, and the same year. So a little bit of fun. Hopefully at some point I can get Ken to come on. We can do a little collector interview. He's a wealth of knowledge. The experiences he has to share. So Ken, if you're watching, and I don't know if he watches this or not, but I would love to have you on for an interview. And if you are watching and you know Ken a little bit better than I do from just his IG lives, reach out and let him know. I'd love to have him on for a chat, to share some of his wealth of knowledge. So that's not the question of the day, though. The question of the day, we talked about the 96-97 classes, probably my favorite class, one of the best, if not the best, in the last few decades, and maybe ever. So I want to hear from you. What do you think is the best draft class in the NBA's history? Drop that down in the comments. I mean, we have some great contenders. I think some of them that come first to mind is obviously Jordan's class in '84. Then we had the '96 class, like this, Kobe Iverson, Steve Nash, and the like. '98 was a great class. Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, Dirk Nowitzki. 2003, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, Melo, save for Darko. There's always one, you know. Olowokandi in '98 was a bust. Marcus Camby, sorry Zach, was not great in '96, and in '84, obviously you've got Sam Bowie there. So you know, there's always one guy to kind of spoil it. But drop down in the comments. Those I just threw out a few of them, but I want to hear from you. What is your favorite NBA draft class? What year? And let's hear some of the players that were in there to refresh all of our memory. Love to hear that. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos in the future. New videos, pack openings, box openings, collector interviews, looks into my PC, and all kinds of fun will always drop on Wednesdays. Any bonus content will drop on Fridays. Thanks. We'll talk later.